Question number
No,
one.
no, I want to say hi. Hello, little Annamalin. I am sitting with my mother, and she has not read the book, and she has neither seen the movie. But she has gotten the book. I have made her gotten the book.
And I will read it.
She will read it, but for her sake, I will not spoil the book too much. I will not talk that much about the ending, but just know, I cried. And I think that is proof enough that I have read it. I have pictures of myself crying, and there are tear stains in my book, so trust me, I did read it.
Question number one. Death, movie versus book. What about the role of death in the movie compared to the book? Part played, bigger, smaller, and the effect of that. Its voice, tone, different.
I thought that in the novel, the depiction of death was more present, and therefore you get to know him more since he is there throughout all of the book. While in the movie, it is hard to have a narrator in a movie, like a narrator who speaks a lot, because that way it wouldn't show the whole story correctly. And so I understand why the movie didn't have death as much, but personally I enjoyed the book more since death was there a lot and he could interject with his own feelings, and he showed the reader a way to think about life and about Liesel and characters, and I saw him as playful, and I saw him as happy and also as sad. So that builds a character more than the movie, where he only speaks 3 times, and all of those times it's in a dark voice talking about death and how he comes for you. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks. You're good, man. I think I'm done with question number 1.
Question 2. Characters. Discuss whether Liesel, Rudy, Max, Hans, Rosa are the same as you saw them when reading. Looks, characters, special details.
Thank you, Mother. I really loved Liesel in the book. Since I saw her as sharp and quiet and curious, strong and confident. While in the movie, she was a bit more, I don't want to say weaker, but not as strong as the character in the book. She had moments that she did not have in the book, where she was more quiet and soft, and she gave up more easily, while in the book she was always her own way. I'm sorry, I have a cat.
And
So
what about Rudy?
Rudy. They say Rudy. He's probably my favorite character, because in the books he's so boyish and childish, but he also has this smart mind. He thinks a lot like an adult, where he doesn't prioritize some things. He prioritizes others' lives over things, and I think that shows an adult mind. But he also shows a boyish and childish playfulness. But in the movie, I don't love him as much in the movie, because I think he's too much of a child in the movie, which is weird to say, but in the book I understand why they made the movie that way, because like they can't force the actor to age, while in the book he starts being 10 years old and at the end he's 14, 15. But they can't force an actor to age in the movie, so I understand why he's a child through it all. But it doesn't show the same growth as it does in the book, since he never ages along with the changes in his world. Rosa is probably also one of my favorite characters, because she is such a complex character. She's not just a mother figure. She's a woman figure, kind of. Like she's not this caring woman. She is more hard-minded and not that easy to go to emotions.
Like a grandma?
Like a mean old grandma, yes. But she also shows her heart in scenes because in those scenes where she actually shows her heart, concern and love, you feel it more than you would with other characters, because you know she is not easy to show her feelings. And in the movie she was the same, but this is the problem I have with every character. She didn't have as much time to get us to know how her ways work. So in the movie it was kind of, I think her character was the best of all characters in the movie. But I would have loved to see her more, even more than we did. Hans, he's in both the movie and the novel, he's fatherly and caring. And one thing I reacted to was that in the book, he shows Nazi support very easily to hide his, he supports Jews. He's not a Nazi, but he makes everybody else think that he's a Nazi. And that's how it goes in the novel. He keeps to that very long and very hard to keep his family safe, while in the movie he hesitated to show Nazi support, which is like, yeah, you don't want to show Nazi support, but you have to. And he did in the book. And then we have Max, and oh my god, I am not happy with Max. In the book, I loved him because he was so weak, he was insane, he was sweet, and he's really a man on a mission in the book. In the movie he didn't look so malnourished as he was in the book. We never saw his beard, he got sick, which he did in the book. He got sick in the book. But this time he went weirdly sick to avoid the scene where he's like prepared to kill a Nazi soldier in the book. But in the movie we never had that scene because he was apparently sick during that, when in the book he was not. And I think that shows his, in the book then, that scene where he's ready to kill a Nazi soldier if he is fined. But it shows like he's ready to kill to survive, because he knows a lot of people have done crazy stuff for him to survive, so he's not willing to die just because of some random Nazi soldier. But in the movie we never have that scene. He never goes insane like he does in the book. And I really liked that he went insane, because yes, you would go insane. But in the movie he is always this funny character in a sort of way, like this wise older man character. Not older man, but older than Liesel. And I did not like that.
But you liked all the characters better in the novel,
I
right?
loved the novel. I do tend to like books more than movies. This may be why.
All of the characters disappointed you a bit in the movie.
A little bit. But I did like Rosa, don't get me wrong. I liked the movie. I would have loved the movie had I not read the book, I think. I would have liked the movie if I hadn't read the book.
Are you ready for question number 3?
Yeah.
Similarities movie and book. Check your notes. In what parts do you think that the movie makers made a great job depicting the story of Liesel Memminger and the others? Discuss one noted similarity each. Describe as well as you can to each other. Don't rush. Think. Do you agree on this in the group? Discuss.
I will discuss it on my own then.
Yes.
I think the most similar thing between the book and the movie was the ending, which I won't go into detail because I have the Virgin Mary here. But I would say that the ending was very similar because it was a long scene in the book. It wasn't a long scene, but it was a normal scene in a book. And they saved enough time with the movie to make sure that the whole ending could be there. And I really liked that. Because they don't do everything. And I am a little bit annoyed with that, but I can live with it. They didn't do everything as they did in the book, but they did enough so that the ending scene was coherent and you could see that they really just read the book ending and were like, okay, we will do it like this and this, like the books does. So I think that was the biggest similarity for me, the ending. There were some small parts that they did differently, but I understand those parts because the story really had to go forward like that, and I can take it, I can handle it. But it is probably the most similar scene, I would say.
I agree.
Thank you.
Then should we take the question number 4?
Oh.
Differences, movie book. Check your notes. Is there something you miss in the movie? Discuss one noted difference each. Describe as well as you can to each other. Don't rush. Think. Does this difference affect the story positively?
I have so many.
Or negatively? How? Do you agree in the group?
I have so many.
What is the biggest difference, you think?
There's so many. All of these, mother, are differences. I didn't even write down them all. And here are also differences.
Oh, but even the plot is different.
A lot different. There are like smaller things that I think make a big difference.
But pick one and describe it as well as you can.
Can I take 2?
Yes.
Yes. I think, because these are 2 major that I think, and I also think these will be brought up by other groups. First off, the mayor's wife, who is Ilsa, I think her name is. She's a huge character in the book because she's there for Liesel and she shows her a way to she shows her a small sanctuary, and that is from where Liesel gets her books and spends her time. While in the movie, sure, Ilsa was there. She was there. I saw her. I know she was there. But she didn't have as much character as she did in the book. She was there, and we had like 2 scenes in her house with her. But she wasn't there as much as she was in the book. In the book, Liesel and the mayor's wife had a real relationship where they were friends. They both kind of drowned in sorrow, but together. So they bonded over being sad and bonded over liking books. And Ilsa's, I think her name is Ilsa, her character was so complex because she wanted, her son had died, and she wanted a child to spend time with because the library was made for her son. So when Liesel found it interesting, she wanted Liesel to spend time there. She wanted to... Her character was more complex in the book. While in the movie we have 2 or 3 scenes with her. And then at the end of the movie, she shows up and adopts Liesel. And in the book that made much more sense. Because it was like, yeah, you two have a relationship. Go on. But in the movie it was like, why is she here? It was like, sure, we recognize her. We know they have spent 2 or 3 days together. But why do you adopt? It didn't make as much sense in the book, in the movie, as it did in the book. And then I have another thing.
Tell me more.
Tell me more. The U marches, you know, when they would force youth to march. We have a lot of those in the book. A lot of those in the book. But in the movie,
There are none.
We have one where all the youths wear suits. And maybe I'm uneducated, but why did the youths wear suits? Because in the book it explains they went from one labor camp to another. And that's why they marched through here, because they were going from this bad place to this bad place. They were marching through there because they had already been in a bad place.
And why would they
Why were they wearing suits? Why did they have a tie and a perfectly tailored suit and a briefcase? Why did they have that? I did not understand that. And also they only have one U march in the movie, whereas they have, I think it's 3 or 4 or is it? They have some in the book. They have more in the book. Some that play bigger parts than others, but they have a lot in the book. And well, since we only had one in the movie, it didn't play as much role as it did in the book. Because in the book we have 4 and they all play different amounts of importance. We have the first where Hans makes a huge mistake, and which his family has to suffer for. We have another where she looks for a friend. We have another where she looks for a friend. We have another where she finds her friend. Well, in the movie they just had to make one, and that is really, it's a choice. It's a choice. I will say that I did not enjoy it. I did not enjoy it, but I can see why they did it. But I did not enjoy that scene, and I think that is one big difference.
Are there any differences that you think affected the story positively?
I am sorry for not liking the movie. I realize now that I am just sitting here talking shit about the movie.
No, but you like the book better, I think.
Much better, mother. much better. I found another major difference, but it's not a positive one. It's, you know, when Rudy finds out about Max, weirdly enough in the movie, uncomfortably enough. That was weird, but it wasn't positive. I think in a movie perspective, I understand why Max gave Liesel the book for her to write. Because like in the movie, since the Major's wife wasn't this big of character and they hadn't had this argument and stuff, they couldn't just... I just realized that I have been talking for 20 minutes. So Max gives Liesel the book, which she writes in. And I see that in the movie. I can understand that, because it's like you haven't introduced the Major's wife properly, so it's weird for her to give the book to Liesel. So Max does it. But then we also skip over so much of Max's story just to give Liesel a book. And I can see in a movie you will have to skip over so much of a story. And I think it did a positive thing for the movie, since they didn't introduce the mayor's wife properly. So having Max give her the book makes a little bit of sense, and it helped move the story forward, I think.
Me too.
Thank you.
I agree on every point.
That's just because I have you at gunpoint.
Yeah. I think that was all of the questions.
Goodbye, Annamalin. I am apologizing thoroughly for the length of this video, and I want to apologize thoroughly for not enjoying the movie, and I apologize even more thoroughly for having all of my emotions written down on a paper and only talking about my emotions. I am sorry for not liking the movie. Goodbye, Annamalin.